Okay, so as I said, today's lesson is going to be on the first conditional. Okay, this is something that is very easy to learn, but students can find it quite confusing, especially when native speakers use this in spoken speech. Students can often not understand exactly what is being said. So hopefully in today's class, you're going to be able to use the first conditional and also understand it. Okay, so why do we use the first conditional, or how do we use the first conditional? So in the first conditional, we are talking about how one action will influence another action. You have two actions, action 1 and action 2, and they influence each other. So action 1 will create action 2 or help with action 2. So let's look at an example of this. So you have the sentence, the first conditional sentence, if I study hard, I will pass the test. You have action 1, study hard, and action 2, pass the test. Okay, so action 1, study hard. If we do this, action 2 is more likely to happen. Okay, study hard and you will pass the test. Okay, action 2 is in the future. Okay, so in the future, there is a big possibility that action 2 will happen. Okay, so action 1 and action 2, and if we do number 1, number 2 is more likely to happen. Okay, it's about 80 to 90%, we could say. Okay, it's not a guarantee, but it's more likely to happen. Okay, so how do we write the first conditional? How do we use it? So you should see the sentence structure in front of you, which is if plus present simple plus will plus infinitive, or your future simple, it's the same. Okay, so or if plus present simple plus future simple, will plus infinitive, it's the same thing. And we've used the infinitive, so that is your basic form of the present verb. Okay, let's have a look at this one then. So this example is, if Jack saves enough money, he will buy a car. If Jack saves enough money, he will buy a car. So action 1 is saving money. Action 2 will buy a car. Okay, so number 1 is the first action. If we do action 1, step 1, number 2 is more likely to happen. Okay, if Jack saves enough money, he will buy a house. Okay, if we do not do action 1, if we do not save money, then action 2 is very unlikely to happen. It's not going to happen. Okay, so this is your first example. The second example we have is, if I go to Italy, I will visit the Colosseum. If I go to Italy, I will visit the Colosseum. Okay, so action 1 is going to Italy and action 2 is visiting the Colosseum. Okay, it's not possible to visit the Colosseum if you do not go to Italy. So you must do action 1 and action 2 is more likely. Okay. Oh. And number 3, we have, if you are late for work, your boss will be angry. If you are late for work, your boss will be angry. So you have the if in blue, your present simple in pink, and your will plus infinitive in green, just so you can see that sentence structure. Okay, if you are late for work, being late is action 1. Your boss being angry is action 2. Okay, being late will mean your boss is more likely to be angry. One action is influencing the next action. Okay, we can also do use the first conditional, or write the first conditional in this way: will plus infinitive plus if plus present simple. It has the exact same meaning, we are just changing the structure. Okay, so instead of starting with instead of starting with if and having will, we are moving it. So now we have will and if. Okay, we're going to look at some examples of these. Okay, so we have, I will go to the cinema if I finish work early. I will go to the cinema if I finish work early. Okay, so now you have action 2 at the start of your sentence, I will go to the cinema, and action 1 at the end of your sentence, if I finish work early. But it's the same meaning. Okay, so action 1 of finishing early, action 2 going to the cinema. Okay, we have another example. Okay, it's not a very nice example. Don't say this to your friends or your family. But the example is, you will get fat if you eat lots of cake. You will get fat if you eat lots of cake. Again, there's two actions. We have getting fat and eating lots of cake. So you have action 2 first, get fat. Action 1, eat lots of cake. Okay, eating lots of cake is more likely that you will get fat in the future. Okay, action 1, action 2. Okay, we can also use first conditional in a negative way. So we can say, I won't go to school if it snows. You have negative won't. And if it snows, I won't go to school. So you have both versions of this. The I will first and the if first. We also have the sentence, I can't see. Sorry. If it isn't sunny, I won't go to the beach. If it isn't sunny, I won't go to the beach. Two negatives. If it isn't sunny, I won't go to the beach. And the reverse, I won't go to the beach if it isn't sunny. Both of these have the same meaning, okay? But we're using a negative form of this. Okay, so there you have it. You now know how to create a first conditional sentence starting with if, or the opposite starting with will. Okay, so we have if plus present simple plus will plus infinitive, or the opposite, will plus infinitive plus if plus present simple. Okay, we're going to do a short quiz. I have 3 questions, and I want you to give me the first conditional sentence. Okay, so number 1, you have a picture of a rain cloud, and number 2, a car. I'd like you to give me 2 conditional sentences, 2 first conditional sentences, one starting with if and one starting with will. I'll give you a few seconds here to write your sentence. Okay, let's have a look at number 2. Okay, the same here, 2 pictures. What is your first conditional sentence? So the first picture, you have a man who looks very happy and has lots of money. I'm going to give you a clue here. We're talking about the lottery. And number 2, you have a picture of a boat and it says, I'm on a boat. Okay, what is your conditional sentence? I would like 2, one starting with if and one starting with will. I'll give you a few seconds to write your sentences here. Okay, and we'll have a look at number 3. Number 3, you have a picture of London and you have a picture of Big Ben. Big Ben is a very famous attraction in London. What is your first conditional sentence? Okay, 2 sentences, one with if and one with will. I'll give you a few seconds here and then we'll have a look at the answers. Okay. Number 1, so your 2 sentences are, if it rains, I will drive. If it rains, I will drive. And the opposite, I will drive if it rains. I will drive if it rains. If you have a different verb here instead of drive, that's fine, as long as you have the same sentence structure. Okay, number 2, we have, if I win the lottery, I will buy a boat. If I win the lottery, I will buy a boat. And the opposite, I will buy a boat if I win the lottery. Okay, if you have this, fantastic, well done. And the same, if you have a different verb, maybe I will go on a boat, that's fine. Okay, as long as you have the structure of the sentence the same, then you are doing amazingly. And finally, number 3 then is, if I go to London, I will see Big Ben. If I go to London, I will see Big Ben. Or I will see Big Ben if I go to London. The same, guys, if you've said visit or a different verb but use the same structure, then fantastic, you can have that as well. Okay, so that is our first conditional. You should now know how to use this, how to write a first conditional sentence, and also understand why we use it. So we talk about how things, so we use the first conditional to talk about how, sorry, I can't even see what I've put here. To talk about things that will possibly happen in the future if a certain action is done. Just remember you have action 1 and then action 2. Action 2 is more likely to happen in the future if we do action 1 first. Okay, and that is today's class, guys. Thank you very much for listening. If you have any questions, please put them